Hey everyone, and welcome back again to the channel. So recently I've done a few live streams on this channel. I've actually done 2 live streams so far, and I just want to show, break down some of the trades I took on those live streams. On both days I did over $1,000. The first day I did $1,000 in like 20 minutes. Second day had a bit of a rocky start. Took a few losses, but then clawed my way back, and then within 40 minutes of the stream I was up $1,000 again, scalping the NQ live at the New York Open. So let's break down some of these trades and let me show you exactly what I saw on the footprint chart and how I was able to get such precision scalps. Alright, we're going to check out the trades. I'm going to show a few clips of the live stream. Now do make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on channel notifications if you want to watch me live trade, because you can also trade alongside me and, make some money, why not? I do it live, New York Open, pretty much every trading day. So do make sure those notifications are switched on so you never miss when I go live. We're in that area. Let's have a look. I'm seeing lots of buy pressure come into the market. I've got my finger on the sell button. Instant absorption. I am going in for a short right away. I think we're going back down. But they are getting absorbed a little bit, but I think there can be more of a move here. The sellers are still quite aggressive. There comes a bit more aggression. Good. Another 100 contra, 200 contra. All right, these buyers are dropping out the market now. Let's see if we can keep pushing down, at least get me to the point of control here to $1,000. They're starting to become slowly inefficient, but they're still controlling the market. It's not the end of the world yet, but I have got my finger on flatten, obviously, because let's be honest, it's slightly dangerous. They're getting absorbed like crazy. All right, I'm taking the money. I'm getting out. There was too much absorption happening. I feel like we might get a bit of a pullback, or there's the pullback coming in. Yeah. You know what? I'm going in short. I've built up a bit of a balance. Let's go in short. I do feel that we're due a pullback, but if we break above the sellers, then I'm getting out. But here we go. Here we're making the move down finally. If I close out now, I have hit my target of 1,000 today. So I have got my finger on the flatten button, because let's be honest, if it one ticks me, I'm gonna cry. Come on, sellers are starting to get absorbed again. These absolute maniacs. What are they doing? Come on, you can get to my TP. You're literally like a point away. Couple of points. It's not that difficult. Come on now. This is the candle, surely. Just sell pressure is dying. They're starting to get exhausted. All right, I'm getting out. I'm locking in 1,000 right now. Sell pressure is just gone. Alrighty, so here is the actual part. So the trader just showed. I got in short, I believe, like pretty much here. I took 2 trades in that little area. I initially got out, I think, about here, right? And then I jumped in again during this little consolidation. Somewhere here I jumped in, and then I got out pretty much like that, right? So two trades in quick succession, capturing this downward leg. And yeah, my original TP was down here. Did hit it eventually, but as you can see, there was a pullback. I didn't want to hold through that pullback. But that is the 2 trades. Now, this is just looking at the candlesticks. Now, obviously, I wasn't just looking at the candlesticks, right? I mean, you don't really get much information just through this. I mean, again, I guess you could say, oh, it's a Fibonacci. I mean, we could, do a Fibonacci maybe. Okay, a lot of people will be like, yeah, look, it's the 0618 golden zone, whatever, extension. Yeah, okay, fine. But you're just kind of guessing. Do you know what I mean? This could be a start of a new trend. This push up. Like, how do you know, I mean, you could have done a Fibonacci. Look, we were in a bullish market for all day. Why not just buy here? You know, why not buy down here? Like, it just doesn't have that much oomph to it. But let's switch over to the footprint, and I'll show you the reality of what I actually saw. Okay, so let's just change the settings on the footprint. I've got it set to 4. I don't want that. I'm going to set it to, I believe I had it at like 24 because the market was very volatile. Yes. Yes. Okay. First things first. What do we see? All right. So on the open, and this is what I always say to everyone who asks me, how do you trade? Look at the story of the market. The market always has a story, right? So the US Open was here. You can see heavy sellers coming in, right? Heavy sellers coming in, trying to push the market down. Buyers coming in as well. They're trying to push it up, and they start failing. And then sellers took over. And the actual move that sparked it all off, you can see, are these sellers here, right? They were able to break through the buyers. And look at these big contracts, 427. Look how efficient they are at pushing this market down. They have no issue pushing this market down, all right? They're doing really, really well. The market starts pushing down. We get a bit of consolidation, you know, people taking profit, whatever. It starts pushing up, all right? So I am expecting, you know, these initial sellers, okay, pretty much, you know, especially that 427. I mean, that's a big cluster, you know, big institutional activity. I'm expecting in this area some defense, you know. I'm expecting sellers to defend their position, right? And so already in this area, I'm kind of looking for a potential, you know, if we get to there, some kind of push down, right? And what do we see? Clear as day again, right? Look at this. 317 buys. Look, all this buy pressure now coming into the market. You know, they were quite effective lower down, 200 contracts, 300, 100. They were somewhat effective at pushing the market up. But then look, all these buyers came in. And what did the market do? Just kind of struggled. Didn't really push up. Did it shoot up? No. It ticked up a few ticks. And then buyers came in again, trying to push it up. But look what's going on. They're not pushing it any higher. Then sellers start coming in, right? Okay. And there's a bit of a battle. But then this is what cemented the trade. I mean, and I'm going to say this is probably one of the best examples right now. It doesn't always look this clear, but keep your eye out for this. What you're seeing right here. Look at this candle. We've got a clear bearish candle, right? Wick at the top. And look at all the heavy buy contracts at the top of the wick, 136, 116, and below it, all sellers, heavy sellers. Buyers completely trapped at the top of that area. They are squeezed out the market, and the market, boom, plummets. Okay? So I already got in the moment I saw these buyers just not being effective. The moment they started getting, you know, failing, getting absorbed, I saw absorption here. You know, this number is 178 at the close, but in real time, it was going up a lot higher. You know, I think at the time it went up to 300 or so, and then it dropped to 178, meaning, you know, 150 or so sellers absorbed all those buyers, showing sell pressure coming into the market, right? So in real time, I think I even mentioned it. Oh, big absorption. I jumped in, right? So I jumped in for a sell pretty much here, okay? And I was literally saying, you know, I'm waiting just for heavier sell pressure to come into the market. And then when I saw this, I was like, yes, this is it. Oh, beautiful. And I was saying at the time, as these buyers were coming in, I was saying, look, if these buyers become efficient and actually push the market up, I'm getting out of this trade. But they instantly started failing, and sellers came in, and I was very happy to hold this trade then. And, you know, we pushed down. But this, notice where I got out. During the clip, I was saying, look, sellers are coming in, but they're starting to struggle a bit here, because I started seeing these heavy sellers come in, 296, and the same thing was happening to the sellers, right? They were getting absorbed. I was saying, I'm expecting some kind of a pullback at this point now. And look what happened, you know. I think it might have been here, actually. Not here. But either way, the same thing happened on both candles, right? you just start seeing, sellers, look at all the volume, or the sell volume coming in. And okay, granted, no real buy volume came into the market. And I will say, if heavier buyers came in, this market would have drifted up a bit more than it did, right? So I was expecting some kind of pullback and then potentially another push down. So I thought, okay, I'll short the market when we get that pullback, and I'll I'm not going to hold the retracement. Didn't really happen. The retracement kind of came in a little bit, but the sellers still kept pounding on the pressure, and they kept pushing it down. Buyers were then starting to try to come in, but they were starting to struggle. There was a bit of a gap, there was a bit of a struggle. And then I jumped in for my second position, and I mentioned it live again when I saw this. 281 buyers came in, and they just failed. Completely failed. And I was pretty happy. Look, they couldn't push the market up here. They couldn't push the market up here. Yes, granted, sellers are struggling to push the market down as well. But, I am pretty confident we're in a downward market overall. We're going to test a weekend gap. There was a big gap on the weekend. I was pretty happy to jump in, front run it a bit, and hope that the sellers come in. If they don't come in, it's no big deal. And I did say this, it's a bit risky because I'm jumping in before the sellers have actually entered. I am one of the first sellers to come in before big institutional sellers have entered. So I'm front running it a bit, but I'm assuming, I was assuming that everyone is going to see this. Institutions are going to see that buyers are struggling. They're trying to push the market up. It's not happening for them. They're going to take advantage of these buyers. And they did, and you can see the sell pressure did eventually come in. So, and then I jumped in pretty much here, rode it down, got out, and made $1,000 in under 20 minutes. And that was that first trade of that live stream. So again, what can we learn? Read the order flow. Read the story of what is going on. Okay, the story is crystal clear. Sellers came in at the open, pushed the market down. Some of them got out the market, taking profit, right? But there's still big sellers, in where the order block, as people say. You got all these retail traders, ICT, whatever, right? They're saying, oh yes, the order block just with their candlesticks. Well, the order block's got to be, there's a wick here, and this wick has a gap in here, and because this is 80, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, right? You can't, I'm sorry, I hate to be blunt here, yeah, but this is the reality, right? How the fuck are you going to know where the order block is looking at a candle? Look at it, how do you know where the sellers came in? Sellers could have came in here, they could have came in here, they could have came in here, here. Who the fuck knows? No one knows. You're looking at something that shows you the open, high, low and close, right? You're not looking at any volume. How do you know where the volume is in that candle? Now, granted, I will say that if you actually watch the candle develop, you get a better sense of where the money came in, where the order blocks are. Because as you watch this candle develop, did it just, jump really quick down? Then okay, you can, if you remember exactly where the jump is, you can say, all right, I'm assuming big orders came in here. That's the order block. That has a better, makes more sense. That actually is, an element of truth to it. Looking at how the candle develops in real time and remembering where, the candle was just kind of, dropped really quick, that could indicate maybe there's an order block. Still not 100%, because it could just be a thin market. You don't know, right? Could just be a thin order book, and there's not many orders on the other side, so it just gaps through. That could also be true, right? But I guess at market open, the chances of a thin book is quite relatively low. So, if you saw that happen in real time, sure, there could be an order block there. But again, why? I don't know why you're making why people make these kind of assumptions and guesses when it's a click of a button, right? You look at it and you say, I can see the order block. It's so obvious now that now, look at this. There was 427 contracts. Clearly, huge amount, big, what do you call it? Big institutions, right? They all came in here. And if you want to be super, look, And if you can play around with the numbers of the footprint. If I do ticks per row and only do 4 ticks, right, so 1 point per row, it's going to look ugly as hell, right? But let's see, where are all the big numbers? So now obviously numbers are going to be smaller because it's doing it on individual smaller price range. But you can just see where the institutional money came in. Now I wouldn't recommend you look at it like this, but look, 100 contracts, 100 contracts, 100 contracts, 300 something contracts in literally 3 points. Boy, that's one individual, that's one entity, right? That's not going to be a collective. That is one big institution who has, enough money to throw 300 additional contracts. Delta, this is delta. This isn't even the full size of their position. The full size of their position, I mean, God knows, right? We can go to the buy and sell. You can see the big, look at that, huge amount, 130, 140, 150, 156. So really, this is probably the majority is one institution. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, close to 600 contracts. Let's say 500 contracts is probably their real position size, right? Which is an insane amount, okay? An absolute insane amount of money. Okay, we're talking, I can't even do the math. You're just talking, I can't even do it in my head, but we're talking millions, huge amounts, right? In one little area. If you look at all the other areas, nothing really is 100 plus, right? You're not really seeing 100 plus contracts, right? You're starting to see a trickle here and there, but there's just one big cluster of sellers in one area. That's the order block. That is an institution, okay? Crystal clear. You don't need to be a candlestick guru and measure the wicks and I don't know. I don't even know what the hell they're teaching. They're just teaching random made up shit, and that's unfortunately what it is. It's made up shit. It's like me trying to predict the weather based on what I had for breakfast. Like, it's completely unrelated stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, that's not how it is. Look at the data. Very, very simple. Look at the damn data. It's available for you. Stop guessing. Look at the data. Trading becomes 100% easier. I'm not some, savant or something, or some mathematical genius, or some, trading god. No, I'm just an average guy who looks at data. A 5-year-old could spot out, if you asked, where is the biggest number in this area? They'll be able to point out the 427. Use it. That's the order block. We came back into it. I'm expecting maybe some kind of, sell aggression comes in. I'm expecting buyers to get absorbed. It happened. Buyers started getting absorbed. Great. I'm going to jump in. Easiest trade of my life. Bang, 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 20 minutes, 2 trades, nailed it. That's all you need. You don't even need to sit there for hours waiting for whatnot. That's all you need. But yeah, that pretty much sums it up. Read the order flow. And if you don't know how to get all this, if you don't know how to get the footprint, the actual, CME data, there's a video on my channel. In fact, I'll link it down below in the description. I literally walk you through the step-by-step instructions, how to get the footprint, how to set it up, how to get the data, all that. It's actually very easy, but it'll save you a bit of research. It's about 20-minute long video or so. And by the end of it, you'll have all this data. You'll have exactly what I see. And it costs next to nothing. I'm telling you, it's cheap. Premium version of TradingView is the most expensive part. Fine. That's like $100 a month. The CME data subscription is like $10 a month. It's nothing, right? And then you have everything you need to actually trade. That's it. You have everything you need to trade. And then all you got to do is apply a bit of logic. Who's controlling the market? Who wants to defend their position? Who was effective? Sellers were effective in this market at open. There's the big order block. There's the big sellers, the big institution trying to defend their position. Are they actively, once we get there, do they actively defend? Yes, they do. Jump in for a sell. Done. Done. As easy as that, right? You don't need to overcomplicate it. Look at the raw data. It gives you everything you need. And that pretty much sums it up, guys. So as you can see, order flow, footprint charts, you know, volume profile, using these tools, okay, that pro traders use, and I promise you pro traders do use these tools, okay? They don't use Fibonacci or trend lines. Maybe they might use it to kind of see where retail money is, but the majority of pro traders, like big institutional traders, do not give a shit about retail traders and where they're entering, exiting, etc. They're fighting in a battle with other institutions, essentially. But they're all using order flow. You know, they're using the real data that comes into the market, and there's a reason they use it, because it actually shows you what is truly going on, the story behind the market. You can figure out who's vulnerable in the market, who's doing well. You know, you can see the true supply and demand inefficiencies, right? Which side is more effective? Are buyers able to be more effective? Are sellers weak? Are buyers strong? You get all that information using the order flow, and that's why it's so important to actually use it. But apart from that, guys, like I said, do hit subscribe, turn on channel notifications if you want to see me trade live. I go live on this channel now. So, you know, if you have the notifications on, hopefully it pops up and you can come on live with me. Watch me break down, watch me trade, copy my trades if you want, I don't mind. You know, share the success, why not? But apart from that, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.